Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope everybody's all doing well. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the fight that took place over the weekend between Devin Haney and Jojo Diaz. Devin Haney outboxed Jojo Diaz en route to a 12-round unanimous decision in what was a pretty competitive, or should I say, a pretty entertaining competitive fight, but nonetheless a comfortable unanimous decision for Devin Haney. I had the fight scored about 8 rounds to 4, I think, and I can see somebody scoring the fight anywhere from 9 rounds to 3 for Haney, all the way down to 7 rounds to 5 for Devin Haney as well. I thought he boxed pretty well. He was able to control the fight and where the fight took place for the majority of the fight. He was able to utilize his height and reach advantage and his speed advantage over Jojo Diaz. He kept Jojo Diaz on the end of his punches, used his left jab pretty well in the fight. Devin Haney has one of the best left jabs in boxing, so he was able to use his left jab even against the southpaw. We saw Devin Haney had a pretty good understanding of, he has a great understanding of boxing. Full stop. He has a very good boxing IQ. But we really were able to see his understanding of boxing and how to utilize, the jab against the southpaw. When he was looking to get the jab in on the southpaw, he would step his lead foot to the inside of Jojo Diaz's lead foot. And then when he was looking to sharpshoot with the right hand, we'd see him get the lead foot to the outside of Jojo Diaz's lead foot. So he was able to really utilize his foot speed advantage in this fight and get lead foot dominance from early on in the fight. He was able to do that. We also saw him try and almost, spin off Jojo Diaz quite a few times in the fight, almost like Lomachenko likes to use this trick a lot, where he spins off his opponent, tries to get them to turn on the spot, and make them adjust to his positional adjustment, and then punch them while they are making their, adjustment to his position change. So we saw Devin try to do that. He wasn't, too comfortable with it, and he wasn't quite able to pull it off consistently. So I think he kind of went away from that in the fight. But we looked. I like to see that he was trying that in the fight and looking to almost get into that T position on Jojo Diaz, behind Jojo Diaz's lead shoulder in that fight, and then almost turn Diaz into a punching bag, to where Diaz is not able to return fire while he's punching Diaz. So I thought Devin Haney was, he was trying some things in there. He was looking good against Jojo Diaz, and that's not to say that Jojo Diaz didn't have, his moments of success, because he did have, his moments of success. He had some good rounds. They were just too few and far in between. If he would have a good solid round that he won, then Devin Haney would come right back out and win the next 2 or 3 rounds and kind of stop Jojo Diaz's momentum there. But Diaz had moments of success. Like I said, they were just too far and few in between. He landed some really good hard left hooks in this fight, overhand left hands on Devin Haney, and they were real clean shots. Some of them landed solid, where Devin wasn't even able to ride the blow. He took them solid, which is obviously not great, not a great sign to see if you're a Devin Haney fan, that he was being caught so cleanly with some of those shots. But I think you can also put that down to the point that Devin Haney was maybe comfortable to hold his feet a little bit more at that point in the fight, hold his feet against Jojo Diaz, because he didn't feel too threatened by Diaz's power, with Jojo Diaz not really being a natural lightweight, really a blown up 130 pounder, and not really a big puncher even at 130 pounds. So at 135 pounds, really hasn't got much pop on his shots. But nonetheless, a good technical pressure fighter is Jojo Diaz. And he's also got to be given some credit himself for, setting up a lot of those shots, because he was varying that left hand counter to the head and the body. So, and he was able to hurt Devin a few times in the fight, I think we saw him fold Devin Haney a couple times with great left hands to the body. And then even in the 12th round, I thought he had Haney a little bit buzzed in the round, but not to the point where I ever thought Haney was in danger of being stopped. But Diaz definitely had his moments of success, and he's a good solid fighter. Just in my opinion, he's not an elite 135 pounder. He's probably a top 15 135 pounder. or just outside the top 10 at least. So I thought, look, it was a good solid performance from Devin Haney. I did expect him to do this, to win the fight. I thought there was a chance he might be able to stop Diaz late in the fight, with him, being the natural, or actually being a big 135 pounder. I thought the size difference would play a bigger role in the fight, and I thought towards the end of the fight, with Diaz taking a lot of punishment, trying to get on the inside, I thought Devin might be able to accumulate so much damage on Diaz that he'd be able to stop him late in the fight. But Diaz was, pretty good defensively. He had a good tight high guard defense that blocked a lot of the shots Haney was throwing, and at least took a lot of the sting off some of the shots Haney was throwing. So credit to Diaz. He was defensively responsible throughout the whole fight, but I thought he needed to take more risks in there, to be honest, because he was being defensively responsible. But there comes a point where you're losing most of the rounds. You got to start taking risks and trying to exchange with the guy or punch with the guy when he's throwing shots, and take that risk of getting clipped with a good shot to try and catch Haney with something something solid. Which he did catch Haney with solid shots throughout the fight, but he doesn't really have that pop on his shots. But I thought he needed to take more risks and be a lot more active in there, because I thought if he was a lot busier, the fight could have been a lot more competitive. But he wasn't able to get off the volume that he would have needed to make this fight competitive, or more in his favor. But that also is credit to Devin Haney for being able to control the distance, using his lateral movement, using his jab and distance control to keep Diaz where he wanted him on the outside for the majority of the fight, and stack up the rounds, which he did did pretty well. I think one thing that Devin needs to work on, though, is just trying to stay sharp and trying to stay focused for the full 12 rounds, because I think there are points in the fight where he gets a little bit too relaxed, a little bit too comfortable, being in control of the fight. And I think he kind of switches off a little bit and allows himself to get clipped with, a hard shot that, kind of gets him buzzed, or, like we saw in the Linares fight, and even a couple times in this fight where I thought he was a little bit buzzed or a little bit hurt. He needs to stay a lot more focused for the full 12 rounds, and just keep performing to the game plan. Because if he gets in there against a guy like Gervonta Davis or somebody like that, and he switches off, that could be the end of the night for him. He could get knocked out, because he was hit with some clean shots last night, that if he was in there against a puncher, the fight could have gone south for him from there. So he'll definitely need to work on his focus and concentration, just on staying focused and keeping to the game plan for 12 rounds. But it was a solid performance from him. But there's guys out there in that division that I think I'd like to see him step up against now. The likes of, obviously, Gervonta Davis, Vasyl Lomachenko, once Lomachenko gets past Richard Comey. Also, obviously George Kambosos is the fight they're talking about making next. He was at all the fights over the weekend, doing his getting his press in, and building his reputation, which is obviously doing the right thing of capitalizing on the big win that he had last weekend. So if we see Devin Haney in there against George Kambosos, I think that's going to make for a great match. And I hope we do get to see Haney against one of those three guys, either Lomachenko, Lomachenko, Kambosos, or Davis next. Any one of those fights would be great for boxing, and would be a great fight that I want to see all those fights happen. So hopefully we get to see him in against one of those three guys next, and that'll make for a really interesting fight. Now, let me know in the comment section below how you guys saw the fight over the weekend. How did you have it scored? And were you impressed with Haney's performance, or do you think that you saw a lot of holes in his game? Because I saw a lot of comments out there that they think Haney loses by knockout to Davis and Kambosos, because he got hit with some clean shots, and then they don't. I wouldn't say he has a glass chin, but I saw a lot of people out there were questioning his durability, saying he's not durable. Maybe that's due to him being weight drained, and he may also need to move up to 140 pounds, very soon, like Teofimo Lopez, because I think he does really struggle to make the 135-pound limit. He is a very big lightweight with his height and frame. So let me know in the comment section below how you saw the fight going over the weekend, and how you think he fares against any of those other top 5 or top 10 lightweights out there. Where do you have him ranked in the top 5? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for listening. Talk to you guys again soon. Cheers.